Pop Top Volcano said this week on Fade to Obsidian we will be discussing Golden Sun chapters 1 to 13. We recommend that you have also read the book to avoid spoilers. Snowflake said please be aware that this episode contains discussions about violence and death as well as strong language. Listener discretion is advised.
Okay, everybody, welcome back to Fade to Obsidian. Welcome to our first part of Golden Sun. I am joined, as always, by Skipper, and I am Crescent. And today we are joined by Hurricane.
Yay, Hurricane! Who is famous for our out-of-context quote of, you can spoil just a little bit. All right. Who are you? Why are you Hurricane, and what are you drinking tonight?
So I'm from South Florida, so I feel like that kind of captures Hurricane in and of itself. But initially Salem dubbed me Hurricane because I have a very interesting method to interacting in the den. Because of my work schedule, I'll be like 110% involved and then kind of withdraw a little bit during work hours and then come back 110%. So because of that, it's more of like the trajectory of a hurricane. But I also like Pierce Brown's way of saying it in the Willow way.
Yes.
And tonight I am drinking lovely Carlo Rossi wine.
Very nice.
Moscato in a jug.
In a jug. I hope that's done by the end of it, in the same way I always finish my wine.
We'll see. We'll see if I can kill a jug.
That's some dangerous business.
Yes.
Very Howler-esque.
Very Howler-esque.
Oh, absolutely.
All right, Crescent, what are you drinking?
I'm drinking Talisker Storm.
Is that a scotch?
Yeah, it's a scotch.
Nice. I am sick, which is, there's a lot happening here. So I have a hot toddy, so that's why when you see me re-pour, it's like the hot water and the lemon and stuff is in a thermos. And then I brought back the Mickey of Crown Royal because I had just a little bit left in there. So that's what I've got.
Did you end up making it gala themed?
No, I couldn't even find the cinnamon. Never mind the orange. My brain's a little gone right now. So it's just
I wish I had gone cinnamon orange.
Yeah, as we found out during the gala, the snow is cinnamon and orange flavored.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, no, I did not.
But no.
I didn't go that far. Sorry, I let you down.
It's okay.
I let you down.
It's a last minute suggestion.
Yeah.
Pro this week.
So before we get into the first few chapters of Golden Sun, we wanted to do an update because it has actually been a week and a half, 2.5 weeks since we
recorded.
Re-recorded, because last time we did the end of Red Rising and then that filler episode, which I'm sure everyone listening knew it was a filler episode and came after a few drinks. So thanks for coming back after that, because we were away. So, Crescent, where were you, and what happened?
So I went out west, out to British Columbia, and I spent an entire week snowboarding. I managed to not break any bones on this trip out there, because on my last one I notoriously broke my collarbone. So it was fantastic. One morning I did not go up the mountain first thing, and I got my Red Rising tattoos.
Hey! Show them off. Close up the camera.
It's it's so hard.
Yeah. Oh no.
Yeah, there we go.
There it is.
Yeah.
Check out our Instagram, everybody. They are on there.
Yeah, they are in much better quality.
Yeah.
What did you get up to, Skipper?
I had a great Howler-based vacation. So I flew into Los Angeles and met up with some of the Howlers that I've known since Morning Stars come out. Hung out with them for a weekend and then headed up to Seattle with Emerald City Comic Con, where I got to meet Salem and Dram and a few other of the Howlers that I had already previously known. And I will give a shout out to Sylvain Nouvel, who is the author of Sleeping Giants, which is the blue book above me there, because that book is blurbed by Pierce. So I started reading him because of Pierce, and then we became good friends. So hung out with them at Emerald City Comic Con, had a great time, and then took the train all the way back. And the halfway point, I got to stop in Saskatoon and meet Crescent for the first time in person. So there you go. We finally met.
Skipper spent about 4 seconds out in the Saskatchewan cold before I went, it's cold outside. Let's go.
Let's go back in the train station. Yeah. So all I've seen of Saskatoon is the train station and Crescent's face. That's all I know of Saskatoon. Very great. Yeah, that was great. Yeah, and then trained all the way back home. Probably got off the train. Tested positive for COVID because they kept calling it a land cruise. That's what it was. It was a petri dish. So, yeah. We're good. I know. Hot
Big sad.
toddies, everybody.
Sad.
It's okay.
Big sad.
Yeah. So, since Skipper's sick and I wanted to dress up in solidarity, we are dressing down as our characters are dressing up for the gala.
Yeah.
Accurate.
Yeah, so I am in pajamas. Which last time I was in pajamas anyway. But I do have...
I feel like it's a podcast vibe to at least have
the pajamas from the waist. Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
But my my tank top is... Oh, hold on, I'm going to roll back, which I think I normally actually sit back here. Anyway, it says complex female character. I don't know if you guys can see.
It's a positive.
Yeah.
With what we're talking about today.
I'm casual, I'm flowing.
Perfect segue.
But we've got so many. The main complex female character that we'll get into. But we get, so Victra, we get Theodora, we get more backstory on Io. We get Harmony and Evie. Sorry, in my mind, that didn't work out. But anyway, it did. Octavia, I would call it a complex female character. We're getting just a little bit of her in this. That's more of the next one. We get... I'm sure I'm missing some. There is... I would argue that these chapters... Aja.
We get the beginning of Aja.
We get...
one of the Furies.
Cassius's mom.
Ooh, she's complex.
We just get so many complex female characters hitting us in these first 13 chapters, which I love. So, there you go. This is my shirt for the day. Hurricane, show us your jacket.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I finally put my name patch and the red gold on my jacket, and I have a pile of more of them. Was going to put the Howler's Den one on, but didn't get a chance to sew it today. And I also will, at one point, put this one on. It's literally the symbol for a hurricane. So it will be going on at some point in the future.
I love that.
We're not there yet, but we're getting somewhere. And then I have Omnivore Lupus. Shout out to the Den. Totally invest in the Etsy. That was my tiny mini plug.
Yeah.
That one's Athena, right?
Yeah,
yes,
that's
it is Athena's.
Live for more crafts.
Live for more crafts.
Yeah,
10 of 10.
That is correct.
So we've kind of put ourselves together a little bit.
I like it. You're doing the work of the team here.
Yes. We're probably going to lose the jacket at some point, though, because it is warm in Florida.
Yes, totally
That
fair.
will happen.
Love it. Well, to get back on complex female characters, we brought you on because me and you share the same favorite character of Victra.
Yeah, Victra is absolutely my favorite character. As I will be quoted saying, a lot of what Victra does we have yet to see. But I very much appreciate just how strong she interacts with the characters in the first 13 chapters. I mean, her entrance on the starship in the academy, and then every single line she says thereafter. It has an energy, but also a spunk that I aspire to have.
Yes. Yes, I know we brought you on earlier. Here's your quote from Out of Context.
Personally, I really enjoy the fact that she is redacted and the fact that she completes redaction.
Which I feel like is a spoil just a little bit that we know she at least survives at some point. At least past these first 13 chapters.
Yeah.
Maybe she dies in chapter 14 after doing something epic.
You never know.
But yes, I know I think that's what I love about her is she just comes out of the gate. There's no question on why she's in the starship. She's just she's there. She's, hanging out and she's beating about it. Yeah.
She's 100% authentically herself from the very beginning. And I think what blows my mind the most about her in the first 13 chapters is finding out that she is half sisters to Antonia.
I know.
And
which she's just like, don't.
That whole completely different character dynamic. And like Antonia isn't of herself a very complex character in a different way.
Yes.
But finding out Victra's kind of side of that, finding out her relationship to her half-sister in the very brief paragraph that it's mentioned so far in the first 13 chapters.
Yeah.
It really shows just how dramatically different she is, but yet equally as strong in a different way.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. Like Pierce writes how Antonia is like, all makeup and like kind of hiding who she really is. And Victra's like, oh yes, these are all of my battle scars.
Yeah.
I'm a badass.
Here we are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, and like I can't remember if it specifies, but I think he says she basically just like doesn't wear makeup. And it's just like, yeah, I'm dope as fuck.
Her makeup is her cool scars and her obsessive love of emerald and jade.
Yes, that is. She wears a lot of the rings is her whole big thing. Yeah, which I love.
Yes.
With our entry, we have another. There's a lot. The Den was hot this week with out of context quotes. It was a lot of you, especially because you were left alone.
I was.
You carried it. But this is another one that came up about kind of Victra's entry and why. And this is, I think, a question for Crescent. Why is Victra there? Like, does the Academy have an age limit? So here's the...
Guess what? You're going to school with children.
Have fun.
Yeah.
I'm getting my master's.
Jazz and I.
Yeah.
Just like that. So to my knowledge, the Academy does not have an age limit. It's just... It's basically like post-secondary institute.
Yeah, because she's 5 years older than them. So she's 27 with a bunch of 22-year-olds.
Yeah.
Or 20.
I think they're
25? 20? Okay, so 25 with a bunch of 20-year-olds.
I think she's older than that. Like, I think she's 28.
I'd say she's probably
And the rest
27,
of them
Oh,
are
she's
28.
27. Okay, I thought she was 27. Yeah.
But still.
Still. She's much older.
Because they talk about how Karnas doesn't, like, he's older than Cassius.
That's true.
And he's been not in the academy at all, and then they hear that Darrow's going. They're like,
The way I kind
kill
of
him.
gathered it was like that, was that you can enter the academy once, but it's a political choice of when you enter the academy. It's kind of like, for example, post-secondary education in, I'm going to say America, where like post-bachelor's degree, you can go back for a master's, but it doesn't necessarily mean you have to do it immediately after graduating. You can wait a couple years or whenever you feel most inclined. And so that's kind of how I picked up on it. Especially because Karnas and Victra are said to be about the same age from the Institute. And Victor's just kind of hanging in the corner, like, you do that. Have fun. Let me know how that goes. Like, the supervisory character.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely feels like that at times. But at the other end of that, to get into her and Darrow's relationship, like, if she's 7 years older, that's some interesting math working there. Because, I mean, we know she is probably one of the most sexual characters we have in the whole book. That, like, if it moves, she's on it. Like,
I mean, she clarified to Darrow when they were going to the gala, like, I must have forgotten my undergarments somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, she is hunting Darrow.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which I
He just
guess
happens to be a quick gazelle.
yes, which gets into, like, because I think we've had a lot of discussions in the den about the the Reds having the patriarchy still and the, like, gender roles and stuff, and the Golds we're seeing that it's more fluid. Victra is, I think, the first one we hear that, like, Mom doesn't believe in monogamy, right? Like, it's straight up, she says it, like, that's why Antonia's a half, and they take their mom's name, like, Mom does not believe in monogamy. So we do start to see the Golds as having different views than the standard, societal norms that the Reds and what we are used to up to, a couple decades ago. That belief of there is, what do they call it? The nuclear family. Mm-hmm. That's what definitely the Reds are in, and the Golds have advanced past that. Yeah, and so I definitely get that, she just wants to have some fun or settle down with as many people as she can. It's fine. I love it. She's also one of the characters that Pierce has openly said is canon that she is pansexual. Which I love that we have that. And you see a little bit as well when she's talking, but yeah, I love her for that. Just like, here I am.
I love everybody. Here we are.
Yeah. Love is love. Whatever. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And as you said, she very much is, especially in the first couple scenes where you see her, she very much solidifies the fact that the Gold Society does not have boundaries on certain things that we have boundaries on. Or we might have preconceived boundaries on. And they're a lot more open to pretty much whatever you do as long as you're a Gold. And that's, unfortunate in what it is, but, like, as long as you're a Gold, pretty much whatever you do, as we see in the Jackal, you can find a way. Or in Karnas, you can excuse away anything.
Yeah.
As long as you know the right people or you have the money. And I think Victor's a pretty good example of the fact that, she is like, I love everybody and I will do anything. And it's purely on opportunity, circumstance, and what I feel like I want to do. And I appreciate her commitment to her own desires.
Yeah, that's very well worded. I like that.
Yep. This is why we brought you on.
Yeah.
Thank you. Aww.
Should we get into the survey?
I would love to get into the survey.
Because the first question... Oh, that's how to answer the survey. I don't want to do that. I want to see the question.
Sure, we can answer the survey right now.
The Red Rising survey got 32 participants and Golden Sun only got 18, I think because we were in different places and not really pushing it. So we are going to keep it open another week. So if you're listening to this now, you can still fill in the survey. Just know that the first few questions are probably null and void unless you put something absolutely ridiculous, and we'll revisit it after. All right, so right off the top, Skipper's favorite character. If Mustang was not in the picture, would Victra and Darrow be a good match? And again, we are just talking Golden Sun and just talking these first 13 pages for now, but do we think they're a good match?
I personally would say that in the first 13 chapters of Golden Sun, there's a certain element, yes, with what we see as Victra enters the picture. She is very much a spark to a flame, just like Darrow is. But the unfortunate thing I have... Wait, say hello now. You
hello,
can't
friend.
Disappear like that.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
Boyfriend. She's very much a spark to the flame, like Darrow is. But in regards to, like, spark to the flame, I'd be worried, and this is where I'm hesitant to say, yes, she's a great match, that the two of them would create a bomb tenfold that of one individual.
Almost like Darrow is just a big old pile of kindling.
He's literally a pile of C4. Like, you accidentally touch the side of it wrong and it'll blow. And I feel like Victra is, in her own way, the same. And as much as I respect the fact that the two of them are twin flames, I'd be worried to see the explosion that would result from chaos in that relationship.
The other thing about having two flames in one space is there's only so much oxygen.
Mm-hmm.
Accurate.
So a lot of these definitely go along the line. So you have, no, they're both too angry. It would be a wildfire kind of relationship that would end up hurting both of them. Where was the other one that I just saw? That was something about flames. No, she is definitely friend material for him. As they said, they would burn hard and fast. They would definitely love each other, but not the love they both would need.
Cute. That just makes me smile.
Long term, no way. Even at this point, he needs more stability in his life, not more chaos incarnate. She is chaos incarnate. She's definitely chaotic good.
That is true.
Absolutely.
We love her for it, is what I'm reading here. Now, were there maybe some late night rendezvous in Darrow's cabin? Also, probably not, because she'd have scared him too much, and we love her for it.
Yeah.
I like that they're like, maybe. No, it wouldn't have happened. No. Yeah. It's a lot of very few people think they had actually
see some other characters that would be perfect for her.
Yes.
Wink, wink.
Wink, wink. There is someone on here who says 100% they'd make cute babies.
Okay, cute babies, I will not deny. But
there is also some people that I'm like, again, we need to have a chat about what wording means, because The question is if they would be a good match, and the one person says yes, she's literally throwing herself at him at the gala. That doesn't necessarily mean she's going to be a good match. Just
because she's into it doesn't mean that it works well.
Yeah. Well, it's someone else, but yes, Victra be thirsty AF, and Mama gets what she wants.
I mean...
Hydro.
If that's Hydro, yes, I see you. Also, I'll lick my cup for you.
There you go. Did you notice that Crescent already licked his bottle?
Oh, yes.
Okay. I sometimes miss it.
There's a good long one, too.
Yeah. Nope, Victra is too much of a woman.
I hesitate to say I'm waiting, but I'm waiting for the Crescent lick.
I aim to deliver.
There you go.
Maybe I aim to please.
Both? ¿Por qué no las dos?
That is my favorite thing to say.
I would not accurately be able to say I live in South Florida if I could not say that sentence.
Love it. Back on track. I'm just reading through. Some of these are pretty funny. Oh, yes, Victor is a loyal queen. She loves fiercely, and I can just be here being like, I know... Oh, yeah, I can just hear her being like, I know you aren't talking to my man like that if some were to diss Darrow. Yep.
Darrow gets something.
One point where I can avidly agree with that. I could see Victra being the Severo equivalent to Darrow. And what I mean by that is, follow me here, Victra in Golden Sun has seen Darrow in a way that Severo in Red Rising saw Darrow. So, like, Severo followed Darrow through all of the Institute, and Victra went to the Academy with Darrow. So she saw all of Academy Darrow. So she is his Academy Severo.
Right.
And so in that way, I could really see her being there for him. I could really see him being like, I need to pull this trigger, and her doing it.
Mm.
And that way, yeah, I could see their relationship working out.
Yeah.
Is that necessarily healthy?
Yeah.
But I can see it working out.
Yeah, for sure. And I think with that, it gets into when we see that, you know, he has his fall from grace and everything, that she is the one who continues to be there and maybe sets him up with some sketchy meetings, but is still talking to him, is still kind of the one. Yeah.
Yeah, is actively trying to improve his station.
Yes.
And instead of just being like, ew,
yeah,
I'm stinky now.
Yeah, you're gonna bring me down with you. No, she's fine.
She's there.
Yeah.
Just kind of like how Severo was at the end of Red Rising, where he's like, I'll do whatever, let me know.
Yeah,
when we see him, Loki, clear the queue for that recording. Yeah. It's one of those moments where you're like,
yep.
We know that Severo has his back, and now Victra has proven that she has, in some capacity as well.
Well, not just like setting up the meetings, but she grabs his arm to walk into the gala, which I think is like, if he's going to be this like, oh, you're auctioned off, you're basically cattle, but you're, you know, done away with. Like, she still stands next to him as like, no, it's cool, you can be seen with me. And in fact, I want to be seen with you.
There's also, hold up, because I'm catching up on chapters 1 through 13 now. But there's a moment where they're in the gala where he's like walking up to, and we're talking about gala?
Yeah, we can, sure. We jump around all the time. So let's just go to
gala.
We'll jump around.
We can jump around.
There's a moment where Darrow is walking up to fight Cassius, where Victra and Tactus are standing off to the side, and they like have a salute essentially to him. Like, I don't know where it is. You might know, Crescent. It's definitely around page 100, but I don't know where. Promise I'll find it. Aha! Page 110. No, I lied. Not 110.
This is like, I don't know, in school, where did you ever have the contests of who could find whatever first in the textbook? This is what this feels like.
Oh, yeah. Okay, in short, Kristen, if you're looking, I'll speak while you look. It's definitely around 112. It's while he's walking up to Mount Cassius, and he's like walking through the masses of the people, and he's kind of like looking at everybody, and they're like, "Good luck, bro," because everybody thinks at that point that he has never trained with a razor. Everybody's like, "Oh yeah, you only know the sling blade." Oof. And then he walks up, and he's like, "Surprise!" And quote, because I'm on that page. Cassius says, "Do you hear that?" he asks. "I hear nothing but the wind and the throbbing of my heart. That is the sound of dying alone. No one to weep. No one to care." "Arcos will care," I whisper. He stiffens. "What did you say?" "Lornal Arcos will care if his last student dies," I say. It's right before that when he walks up. Because he walks up and everybody's like, "Goodbye." And they like tap his wrist. You found it! Go!
Yeah. So I pace back to the center of the circle, nodding to Tactus and Victra. They touch the handles of their razors, as do the other aides. Our pack mentality is keen. Prime luck, Tactus says.
I love
so
it.
This is after he gets the iron blessing from
Augustus.
Nero.
Yeah, Nero. It's when they finally actually make it like a 108. Perfect. I'm finding it now. But yes. It's literally like that one point where he's like, "All right, it's been fun, guys." Because everybody thinks that he has no training whatsoever. Because he doesn't find out, or rather, he doesn't make that statement to Cassius until 112. Where he's like, "Surprise. I also have trained, and I am not inept. I will murder you." Like,
yeah, his anime power up.
Quite literally.
He's like,
oh my god, and like,
yeah,
you've activated my trap card.
Yeah, that's your crazy endgame moment.
Yes.
Because and I will say, all the way, all 110 pages up to that point, did a solid job of being like, Lorne is incredible. Lorne is the pinnacle. He is awesome. Everybody should train with Lorne. Lorne will not train anyone. Lorne is incredible, but no one will ever train with him again. He's retiring. Goodbye, Lorne. And then all of a sudden he's like, surprise.
Well, and they set the seeds in Red Rising. We hear about Lorne and Red Rising and how incredible he is.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a good one that keeps.
And they actually, like, he's sprinkling a little bit through the beginning of these chapters. It's like the Jackal quotes he uses an Arcosian insult on the Jackal. And when when Roke and Darrow are talking just before the gala, Roke quotes Arcos but misattributes it to Augustus, and Darrow's like, no, check your facts. That was Arcos.
Yeah, Darrow brings it up repeatedly. Like, I know. Oh, I know. And everybody's like, oh. And then also there's that scene at the academy where they're on the ship and they're talking about, oh, let's like go spar. And Daryl's like, no, I don't want to. And they rip him apart. They're like, oh, we've seen you do nothing except sit around. You haven't done anything at all. They have a whole like half chapter where they rip him apart for not having trained, for not having doing anything.
Yeah.
So by the time you get to this point, you're like, okay, where is he going? Like, he's not going anywhere productive. And then he says, you know, Arcos will care, and you're like, yeah, he
the
will.
Seeds bloom.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah. I remember the first time reading it and like being like, how is he getting out of this? Like, yeah, like
Oh, yeah.
you're done. Yeah. I love that.
I will say, Pierce Brown, if ever you listen to this, the one thing that I appreciate the most about all of the writing is that every time I'm like, oh, I kind of have an understanding of where this is going, you genuinely prove me wrong. And that is the only thing that kept me stuck with this book through all the way up to Iron Gold, and then I was sunk like a ship.
You had to wait till Iron Gold to be sunk like a ship.
No, I was definitely sunk at Red Rising, but by like sunk at Red Rising, I was like, okay, I can finish this to Morningstar. Got to Morningstar, loved it. Was like, all right, I'm done. Like the many trilogy lovers was like, this is the ending for me.
Yeah.
And then it took quite a bit of, I'm going to say, hey, bribery. But it was less high bribery. It was more, I have at least eight coworkers that have read this book. And three, four of which have like kind of adapted it as a personality. And so because of that, I was like, maybe this is like worth my time. And that's how I read the first book. And I am an avid fantasy sci-fi reader. And I was like, all right, yeah, I should have read this book a while ago.
I like it.
And then got up to Morningstar, was absolutely in love with it, loved the ending, loved that it had, quote, happy character traits to the ending.
Mm-hmm.
And knew that if I continued on, it was almost like too much of a good thing, is what I was worried about. Is if I continued on to Iron Gold, I felt like the ending of Morningstar was a good place to end.
Yes.
And if I continued on, I was worried about not having, I guess, the same fulfillment, which is not accurate in that, like, I knew I would be fulfilled by it, but I didn't know that it would be happy, which makes it what it is.
Yeah.
Which, and I hate to out myself like this on the podcast, but, which is why I haven't finished Dark Age. But it's why I've almost finished Dark Age. I've gotten at least just shy of 2/3 of the way in, and, then decided I needed an emotional support group in the Howler's tent to finish it. So, right before Lightbringer, I will get there.
I love it. When did you... So Iron Gold was out when you started reading Red Rising?
Yes. I started reading Red Rising probably early 2021. Yeah. I had just started at my new job, and that was when my coworker mentioned they had named a child after a Red Rising character. And I was like, oh, what's that book? So I picked up the book and read it, and flew through Iron Gold in literally, when I say Iron Gold, I mean I picked up Red Rising, bought all the books, had them delivered to my house, and finished them in 3 weeks.
Nice.
And then got Dark Age. And when Dark Age was delivered, I was like, ooh, wait. That's when everybody was like, yeah, Dark Age was when everybody was like, oh yeah, you're going to be emotionally destroyed. And I was like, I'm not ready for that. And everyone's like, yeah, no, absolutely, it's worth it. It's great. You're going to be wrecked. And I was like, I'm not ready to be wrecked.
I do think that's an advantage of attempting to read ahead of everybody. That, like, I know, actually, somebody I was in Seattle with is, I know her for being a howler. And we met in the Morningstar era. And she hasn't read Dark Age yet because she couldn't read it in the first few weeks. And then by the time all of her friends had read it, our responses were about, like, how destroyed we were, that she's like, I can't touch it. So she knows she has to for Lightbringer. She wants to read it. But I think there is some advantage and that's even Lightbringer. I feel like you guys won't hear from me very much the moment it comes out because I am just going to blitz through it so that it's like, don't tell me, don't say anything, just let me get through this. And if you're watching this and you have not read Dark Age, come to the den where we can offer you emotional support while you work your way through.
Yeah, because we'll all be there together.
We'll all be there together. And there's some of us who, like, it's pretty fun. Crescent obviously knows the books more than anyone, that people are like, I'm on this chapter, and I'm like, I don't know what that means. And Crescent's like,
and I go,
side messages me and is like, it's this part. And I'm like, oh shit. Like,
yeah, they're about to have a redacted time.
Yeah. And I'm like, I don't know what that means. And then, that. Anyway.
Yeah.
Back about Golden Sun.
But yes.
4 books back.
Our book now.
Which is, I would say, also one of the most traumatic of them.
We have no idea if it's traumatic or not.
You're right. It's not. It's just happy ship-to-ship battles in which how many people died in the first scene?
That's what I was going to say.
How many people died in the
first? 833.
833.
I wrote it down.
I did not.
That's fair. I remembered it, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, like, this is my favorite book, though. This is my favorite.
There's definitely trauma in the first 13 chapters.
In the first 13 chapters?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
I'm sorry. They tried to blow up the, Crescent, what is the name of the tavern?
The Lost Wheat Den.
They tried to blow up the Lost Wheat Den.
Skipper,
there was death.
Did.
I know.
And then immediately after that,
never mind.
Darrow finds out about EO.
Talk trauma. That's a different trauma, and that is okay. Let's
trauma. That's a repeated trauma.
Let's go right into that one, and I think there is a survey question. Yeah,
we got to find you survey question. I'll find.
So we're talking for those who are watching, and obviously, hopefully, either don't care about spoilers or have read this point. But if
we're gonna rip it apart,
forget where we're at. This is when we find out, because Harmony's a bitch, that EO is pregnant. Yeah, this is. So the question I asked is, did finding out about the baby change your perspective of EO and Darrow's relationship? Me personally, it did not, because in my mind, and I know it's hard now because the Den has so many ongoing theories, but in my mind, EO had either made up her mind one way or another, and the baby didn't affect. What I found traumatic about that is I'm more mad at it. It changes my whole perspective of Harmony, because EO purposely kept the baby a secret, and her then pretty much dying wish to hide that from her husband is taken away. And so that is what I more take out of the scene. I don't think in my mind it changes EO and Darrow in any way, because you reread Red Rising and you know that she wanted to tell him. Like, it leads up that she keeps going on about a secret, and don't go in the room. It's, for me, what changed was that's when I really stopped trusting Harmony. Like, already she was sus, but at that point it's this, like, who are you to give that information to Darrow? Like, why? What purpose did it serve?
I think it's also how she told Darrow. Like, don't get me wrong, 100% I agree with you. Like, when I first read it, I personally, going through that scene, recognized in the same way that you did that either she had made her mind up or had ulterior factors make her mind up for her.
Yeah.
Like, that basically she wasn't going to end up a mother in that situation, whether it was by her own devices or someone else's. And that said, this particular scene for me, as you said, highlighted Harmony. And there's a specific sentence that, like, really ripped at me, and it was like how she said to him, how is he on Mars preparing the revolution? There is no way to communicate. They monitor everything. How could he contact you? Talking about Ares. She jumps forward and says, tell me, Darrow, do you even know how much they've stolen from you? It's something in her tone. What do you mean? Here's what I mean. She jams a series of orders into the hollow cube and an image appears of a Lyco's minds. My blood goes cold. The recording of Eo's death, the one we pirated and broadcast, it wasn't complete. And she hands it to him. Like, the way that she took that choice away from Eo, took the choice away from Darrow, the way that she was just kind of like, here, because it served her better.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like it's not something that she's doing because, like, oh, here, you deserve to know. It's like, oh, here, you deserve to be ripped apart so that you will decide to
join us or
do what I want you to do.
Right.
Like, it's straight up manipulation tactic. Like,
and then what you see in the next chapter is how much it rocks Darrow.
Yeah.
And that obviously was her goal.
Yes.
But it tells you a lot about Harmony as a person. Like, we talked about in our lovely chat.
Yeah.
The cutout chat about a lot of redacted things. But one thing was that the Sons of Ares has kind of dwindled into what it has become in the first 13 chapters of this book. And how, like, Harmony just so bluntly clarifies, like, Danzer's dead. Yeah. And how Evie went from such a shy, I'm going to say, good aligned character to what she is now, which I wouldn't necessarily go so far as to say she's not good aligned, but she's very trusting to the point that she will trust whatever orders anybody gives her. And so when Harmony is giving her not necessarily the best aligned orders, she is following them. So that said, like, there's a lot that we see in the Sons of Ares that is not necessarily where it was in Red Rising. And Darrow feels abandoned by that just as much as the other characters do.
Yeah.
But in this particular scene, it's very, very clear that initially, I'm not going to say standard, but their qualifications were different than what they are now. In that, like, they initially were saying, you know, we're trying to infiltrate, we're not trying to, they're playing the long game.
Yeah.
Whereas now it seems like they're following that ruse that, I feel like his name was Dago. The guy with the burner at the beginning.
Dago
at the beginning with the burner. They're playing the long game at the beginning, and now they're playing the game like Dago says, where it's a burner, but it's burning hot and fast and will be ash. And that's what it seems to be now. It's become something that is fizzling out faster than Darrow knows how to handle it. And Darrow gave up his whole life for this. So it's hard for him to swallow when he shows up in the warehouse. That he has given not only his life, but his wife's life and his now child's life for something that doesn't seem to be going anywhere. And so when Harmony is like, hey, Ares wants you to completely eradicate this gala.
Yeah.
He's like, yep.
Luckily,
he decides.
Boy is conflicted.
We gotta love
He's
complex
smarter than Harmony.
characters, Skipper. Come on.
I can't really talk right now. I'm coughing, but yes, complex females. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a moment where it compels you to think about the realities behind the situation. Like, throughout all of, I don't even know what chapter number this is. Hold up. Chapter 9 through probably 11. It compels you to think about how, although there are multiple answers to resolve a problem, they all have consequence.
Yeah, hold on. You asked for this, and I'm gonna play it.
I did. I was like, I don't know how to get out of this. Sorry, here we go.
Oh, I didn't have it properly cued. Oh, my bad. Hold on.
It's all good. It'll come up.
The magic of editing.
The magic of editing.
This was specifically... Oh, no. Asked for... No.
Skipper, I know you'll handle this well.
Alright. This was specifically asked for out of context here.
Look, here comes a consequences of my actions chasing me right now. I don't want no consequence. I don't want no consequences chasing me right now. Someone take this consequence. Someone take this consequence and chasing me right now. Jesus is the consequence. Jesus is the consequence chasing me right now.
I didn't know it was that long.
No, it continues on. It's like a 60-second clip. But
Yeah,
yes. Basically it's there's two sides to every coin. And I could sit here and get philosophical on you. But there's two sides to every coin in every argument. And when entering an argument or a disagreement, it's important to recognize that there's two sides to that coin. And in chapter 9, Harmony pulls the rug out from Darrow, like under Darrow. And, quote, for lack of a better term, I am with child. And it repeats it 5 times in 2 pages. Mm-hmm. And it's because it literally floors Darrow. But the flip side to that coin, Harmony is showing him because she's trying to manipulate him, which is 100% true, 100% fair. That's what's happening. But Harmony sees all of what is happening in the future to need violence because that is all that Golds will understand. And she will never understand Darrow's perspective where, quote, civil war makes more sense because them fighting themselves is easier than, or better than, or more effective than, or whatever kind of terminology you want to use. But the point is, there's always going to be information you're not going to know. There's always going to be something, whether it's the the Dio-Eo interaction, whether that's the whatever. And I will say that specifically in the beginning of this novel, it really, really isolates that like human condition experience, where it shows you that there is always going to be something that you don't understand, that you don't know, that you don't conceptualize, that will completely change the narrative. And by the end of chapter 13, it does. So...
Yes. Yes, it does. Yeah. Just back to the survey. It is... Which so many people got spoilery on. And I'm like, guys...
I don't doubt that.
We'll loop back later and do some... Okay. Mm-hmm. It is like 50-50. That people either... It didn't change anything, or there is some real hate for EO doing that. There is a lot of hate for EO. Just of hiding from... Okay.
Fill me in.
Oh, so someone immediately guessed that it was... that was the secret. I like whoever that person is. They just went for it.
So sorry if I, like, scarred any of you.
Yeah, and some people made things more tragic. But yeah, okay, so I didn't care for EO to begin with, but knowing about the baby made me dislike her more. Although she was smart in not telling Darrow, Darrow would become... Oh, Darrow becomes a drunk Nero when he finds out while still a red. What? Okay, that one went two different, and I think they were missing a sentence.
Well, no, I think it's more of a
that
one.
Would be...
Like,
yeah,
had he still have been a red and found out, he would have become a Nero. Because EO, at that point, didn't know that he wouldn't be a red.
Yeah. Okay, but yeah, so they just didn't explain why it made her dislike more. Right. 100%, I guess, myself being a father... This is interesting, as I think we should have put on a, like... You're spilling over there. We should have put on a who are the parents, maybe, filter. I don't know if that would have changed anything, because there is some people who have to... They're putting in a lot... And
they
even some who say...
Huh.
Yeah, a lot of... the parents came out and said whether or not they were a parent, it seems. So... I guess being a father, it affected me, not sure how, but it got in my feels for sure. I didn't like them together at all anymore. Yes, showed that EO didn't care as much about Darrow as he cared about her, which we already knew. That baby was literally the more he would have lived for. That's a spoiler.
Important, I think.
I agree with Kristen. I think that was the point.
Yeah.
Like, whether or not, and this sucks to say, and I hate to say it, but as much as it's tragic, as much as it's horrible, as much as it's not something that would necessarily be societally condoned.
Yeah.
There's two very clear kind of paths that happened here. A, she was no longer with child, which is traumatic in its own right. B, she was, but she as a mother recognized the guttural reaction of not being able to bring her child into the world that was provided for it.
Yeah.
And as much as I'd like to say that is atrocious, that is horrible, that is... Mm-hmm. And side with all of the people in this survey that said, oh God, I can't. There's still a piece that understands that would you necessarily be bringing your child into a world that would be any better than literally hell on earth. Because if not, how do you justify that? Like, there's a certain level of guilt that comes with that. That sucks. That's horrible. That is not something anybody should ever have to deal with. But that guilt is something that I think that Io, if provided she followed that path, that guilt is something that literally drove her to the option that she picked.
Yep. Yeah, there's
spontaneity. Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows, Pierce? Come on, Pierce, answer.
I'm just seeing. Yeah, there's a lot of few people saying, like, the ongoing theory that she knew more and would give up because of that, or we don't know what happened those 3 days, that maybe she did miscarry, we don't know. But yeah, there is also, oh my god, one of them is hilarious that it says, nah, teenagers groping in the grass can lead to babies. Don't be silly. Wrap your willy. If your pull-out game is weak. But it does say, that same person said, to sacrifice yourself while carrying a child and not telling your husband. Secondhand disrespect. But the only time she would have had a chance to tell him, because that was the whole secret on and on, was when she was about to die. And I don't think that's the time to tell someone. I think if you're that far that you're going to die anyway, don't keep that stuff to yourself, because there's no reason to burden someone else with it.
I think the only time she would have told him is previous to, and now we're dancing back to Red Rising. The only time she would have told him was before Webbery, in my personal opinion. Like, if she didn't tell him before that or show him before that, it either begs to be insincere, or it's a I don't want to die, or a, like, there's a certain level of either trauma to him or trauma to you.
Yeah.
And I firmly believe that because she didn't tell him then and was trying to keep it a secret for post Laurel, and then was trying to keep it a secret longer than that,
yeah,
it just, the time had passed, as you said, Skipper. It was not appropriate is the wrong word, but basically appropriate. Like, it would have been unnecessarily traumatic.
Yep.
And then Harmony made it unnecessarily traumatic, because why not?
Yeah,
It's like
somebody in here put, no, but fuck Harmony for telling him. It was her last act for not know. For him to not know.
Well, for the record, no one likes Harmony.
Nobody likes her. Oh my god. If you like Harmony,
no.
please
if you read this book and you do not like Harmony, message me, please.
Yeah.
Or if you do like Harmony.
You do like Harmony, because everybody hates Harmony.
Also message me. No.
Everybody message Hurricane.
All of you. No, I'm kidding.
So on a lighter note here.
Hurricane.
On a lighter note, who I assume is Hydro. Nah. Oh. I knew that was Crazy Eyes' second surprise was a trap baby. I don't think it's a trap baby if you're already married.
It's a trap.
It's not a trap baby if you're already married and you're stuck in a mine.
Well,
yeah, no, that's fair.
But
it
would have been a trap baby. Not in the traditional sense, but like
there's a traditional sense of trap baby, Crescent.
Well, yeah,
yes!
Obviously. The way we're talking about.
I'm gonna use that in the future.
Do you not know the term trap baby?
No.
Yes.
The traditional sense of trap baby. That sentence will be utilized in the future.
So it would have been a trap baby, but in the way of like basically killing Darrow's involvement in the Rising. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it would have trapped him in this life rather than, we got to get married now. It's like,
You get that.
All of that.
Yeah.
finger guns.
Finger guns. Yeah. A lot of people have a passionate opinion on EO, which we know over and over again. It's I think difficult subject, and I think a lot of people bring in very personal takes on EO. Like, I know that's why I didn't like her for a while, is I didn't relate to her, but she's similar to me, and therefore I couldn't see myself doing what she does. And I think a lot of people are along that lines of there's elements to her and so much because she's so vague. Like, she's the classic.
I go with it. She's fleeting.
Yeah.
She's a character that has very, very minimal explanation.
Yeah.
And so because she's so vague, as you said, there's enough story for, and unfortunately, this is literally the worst, and I hate to say this and be a representation of the female condition, I guess. But she's a representation of women in Red Society. And she's a representation of a young woman without options, because her options are continue as she is in Reds, as a Red, or continue as she is in hopes of uprising and fixing things for her children, and neither is really really a good option, because obviously one results in pretty much death and the other one results in pretty much death. So it's like there's really no positive option other than maybe the possibility of raising her children to do the same. And that's part of the reason why I have the answer that I do to the original question about how I feel about her doing what she did with the song. I feel like she's faced with that choice. Like, you're either going to die in the mines or die with a child who will be forced to work in the mines. And there's really no way out.
Yeah. Yep, for sure.
Sorry for being heavy. I apologize.
No, I know. I was going to say, on a lighter note, do we want to... There's another, which I was going to do back to back with the Victra Darrow question, but I think if we want to completely switch gears, do we want to do that, or do we want to stick with something here? We're good here?
We can switch gears.
Okay.
I was
going to say, we've already talked for an hour, and we're
we
here.
can, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, switching gears. So, I didn't compare, but I gave the hypothesis of Victra and Darrow. Let's compare that to if now at the end of this chapter we think we know that Mustang is using Cassius in a certain manner, and we can't get too much into that because I think it's the next chapter. But we do know she has her own plans. That is the reason she's with Cassius.
Her own plan.
Let's say Darrow's out of the picture. Is Mustang and Cassius a good match?
Oof.
Is a good answer. Crescent.
Yeah, no. She's way too smart for Cassius. I love Cassius, but like... No. Just no. He's a mama's boy.
Yeah. Hurricane, you're just...
Like she would maybe be good for him, but he would not be good for her.
That's a good, yes.
Finding words. I'll throw out there to answer, and this might have been 2, 3, 4 weeks ago. This was part of the questionnaire. Would you date Cassius?
Oh yeah.
Here is my answer. I'm adding myself. I'm unfortunately attracted to toxicity. So, in that saying, Cassius resembles a lot of people I have been with. That said, Cassius, I really appreciate his consistency and also his, we'll say strength. Say strength. That said, Mustang, as who I am now, astronomically above what that was. So, no, I don't feel like they would be a great match at all.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, Kristen, you hit it with, she would be good for him, and I can see him settling down with her, right? Like, we know at this point, he's had all these flings or one-night stands or whatever, you know, with whoever, but they're clearly at this point, there's more to it happening, and I can see him wanting more, and she's fabulous, but she, I don't think, would get out of him, like, the intellectual stimulation that she needs. They have very different family dynamics. Like, he's so into his family. As you said, he is a mama's boy. He is obsessed with his siblings. She wants nothing to do with her. Like, she's like, I guess you're, like, around. Like, and so that, I feel like, would become, like, I just picturing Thanksgiving dinner, that she would be so done and over, like, can we just go while they're fighting about whatever. Actually, I bet you they don't even fight. They're all probably perfectly politically, vote the same way. And she would be this one who's sitting there itching, like, what is wrong with you all?
Karnas and Cagney would just be like, well, shits.
Yeah.
Kellen.
They're over at the other end of the kids' table. She's not even talking to them. So the answers here are pretty much a no. Like,
right.
So
I'm glad we have very smart viewers.
Yes. Just a reminder of my joke about the dolphin, that Cassius is our dolphin that you want to sleep with on vacation but not bring into your house, because that is a lot of this, is fuck no, dolphin boy, and a mean woman who knows her worth. Queen. Someone just put dolphin fuckboy noises. That's it. That's all it says.
Oh, dram.
Yeah.
Yes, dram.
She would not be attentive enough for him. Cassius needs a nurturing partner. That may be because, given them being golds, his parents seem to be very nurturing to their children. Also, he wouldn't challenge her enough. This is definitely. He wouldn't challenge her enough. He would become her yes man and hate her. She would lose respect.
That's a Cassius down. Written from Cassius.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I am biased because I'm swept up in the charm of Cassius, but no, probably not. This is another case of Mustang remaining 6 steps ahead and Cassius thinking with something other than his head.
I agree. 110% agree with that statement.
Oh, someone, yes, she could tame the frat boy and help him heal. Okay. Sure. Fuck no. He's pretty to look at, but too hot-headed to be in a healthy relationship. We don't stand for manipulators. Not saying he is, but is he? The thing is, she would, like, I don't think he could manipulate her, but we don't stand for manipulators. No. But I don't think he could manipulate
Even attempted
her.
manipulation.
I think genuinely,
for.
if reality was to set in, like remove Darrow from the situation.
Yeah.
If Virginia and Cassius were put in a situation together, I think they could make it work.
Mm-hmm.
But it would be a lot of him testing her intelligence and her proving her intelligence. It would be a lot of him being like, oh, I'm a man, I'm smarter, blah, 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 and then her outsmarting him to prove him wrong.
Yes.
In order to earn respect from him. And I think that that's BS. Let's shove that off to the side. But I think that's what that would be. And glad that that's not what it is.
Yeah.
But I think that as unhealthy as it is, would be what it is.
Yes. Yeah. Our guess at Hydra's answer? If anyone's gonna tame this dolphin, it's Mustang. Homie's whipped.
Yep.
I agree.
Yeah. Do you remember, thinking back all those years ago, what our first reaction was when Mustang and Cassius walks into the ball together?
That bitch.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Mine was more of a interesting, they're all in black.
Mm.
That was my thought. Literally interesting, they're all in black. And then I personally, when I first read it, which I suppose is different now, I thought Darrow, Cassius, and Mustang were in black. And so it made it kind of funky when I was looking through it all, and I was like, everybody's in black? What? Like, but it made it a lot clearer to understand the whole, like, of one mind thing.
Mm-hmm.
When I realized who was really in black.
Yeah. I don't think I was wrong, or I was mad at Mustang. I think I sided with her at this point, not necessarily approving that she went with Cassius, but that she would move on, because we get the little snippet of her on the balcony as he's going off to the academy, and her doing the, she wants to make him a politico rather than a warlord, and he's not having it. And so he leaves her, and then it's been 2 years since they've talked? At least one.
I want to clarify here. You said, what was your first reaction? That is knee jerk. What a bitch. And then
I think I would,
like, of course.
I think I went with good for her, and then went, wait, is that the guy? But I think I went good for her of this, you know what? It's been how long's it? 1 or 2 years?
2.
I believe it's 2 years of the academy.
Yeah. So
it's that's the reaction. It's
a girl's got needs.
Different and.
But yeah, I think mine was good for her, and then was oh, not really. But if you're gonna be pissed off at the guy, that's who you get pissed off at him with. So I also think I read Golden Sun directly after a breakup, so that also I was looking back at this and I was like, this might change some of these things. But yeah, originally my thought was, no, this reread, you know what's happening, but it is more of a okay, interesting, I see you, right? But yeah, I do always, that whole gala is, as much as I've forgotten so much that this reread is bringing it back, I knew that gala the back of my hand, especially Victra being I could remember the fact that she wears her razor like a sash. Yeah. I love that she's just this is a part of my jewelry. Yeah. And then we get their walk-in. There's just so many epic parts of this gala. When are we getting our own
Pretty much
Howler
just
Gala?
October, I think.
We're gonna do Howler Gala while on like hanging out with
During
chickens
Howler
and
Fest? Absolutely.
while we're all camping out, we're also gonna wear. I mean, I just wore my dress in the ocean, so I don't know what I'm worried about getting it dirty. So
Get in the ocean in a dress.
did you miss that?
No, I saw it, but I'll do it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, okay. I mean, we'll be in Indiana, so it's
Wait, yes, I'll
So
come
good
to
luck.
Indiana.
there's no ocean in Indiana.
It's not an ocean, but I'll go to the lakes.
There are lakes.
The oceans are
lakes.
better. Come to Miami.
I will. Yeah, every time I read it, I'm like, I want to go back to prom. Like, I have a very good prom experience, and I just want to go back to prom. Until somebody
Less than
starts
positive.
fighting somebody else, then that's a problem.
Yeah, I had a gala
Depends if you're
prom
going to get your
experience.
anime power up.
There was a fight at your prom?
There was a gala prom experience.
Did somebody...
You share?
Yeah.
Crescent's like, share. No, it was 30 people trying to sleep in tents in the backyard of someone's house. And there were 6 garbage cans bungee corded together in the corner of the yard, like for if you needed them. And it was kind of Casino Royale, like make it into a tent. And if you didn't make it into a tent, you didn't make it into a tent.
Wow.
Yeah.
I was expecting Fight Club.
I was also expecting Fight Club.
I'm not gonna say it was Fight Club for the purposes of legal things, but also
For legal reasons, this is a joke.
Exactly. For legal
Nothing
reasons,
happened.
this is a joke.
We're
But
all
also,
lying.
I'm joking about the fact that we definitely fought for tents.
That's like more of an institute than gala, it sounds like.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a let's make it into a tent to pass prom.
Yeah. I like it. I'm trying to think what else. There's so much that happens.
We have another. It's like it's a snippet of a relationship, but it's a very much like this is all this relationship is. Karnas and Darrow.
Oh.
I personally respect Karnas. I personally think he's a warlord, like high key. Very much do not F with Karnas. At the same time, I do believe he has the same level of respect that Tactus and Titus have. Like, he has the same personality, we're going to say mountain, that they have. That he has built himself a warlord's mountain. Whether that's through murder, whether that's through, unfortunately, assault, in whatever case it may be. That's who Tactus, Titus, and Karnas are.
Interesting. Also, what's up with the S's as you say that?
Right. Tactus and Titus.
And Cassius and...
Yeah.
It's like a Roman thing, isn't it?
Adrius.
Anyway. Adrius. Do we
just
distrust anyone who ends in a S?
Honestly, probably, yeah. Hold up, wait.
Apollonius.
Yeah, I'm literally sitting here going through everyone in a series, like...
I think we're on to something here.
Yeah.
Don't trust the S's. Anyway. Total side bar there, one.
But I think there's like a pretty interesting parallel between Karnas and Darrow. They're like, they even talk about it like we are the same kind of person, and they absolutely are. It's just like Darrow is a little bit more three-dimensional than Karnas. Karnas is just violence.
Yeah.
Karnas
And
is
Darrow
the same
is-
version from the Bolognas.
Yeah, Darrow is violence, but with purpose.
I like that. Yeah, I really like their little one-on-one chat that they have.
Their little tete-a-tete.
Yeah. Where it's just like, I
Darrow
see.
is kind of like, you can't fuck with me right now.
Yeah. You're allowed to swear. We have the explicit.
Yeah,
thing.
you can
That
say
was
fuck.
You can't fuck with me right now.
You can. We have the E on Spotify. It's fine.
Hey.
Yeah, I really like that part, and so much of it is I'd be interested to know how much. Well, no, we know that Karnas does not care about Julian. That he's 100% doing everything.
Oh yeah, no, he
just because his mom
Straight
tells
up
him to.
says Cassius and his mom are the only reason he cares.
Yeah.
Cassius, he's like, hey, he's like his twin. He's like, and my mom.
Yeah.
Because straight up,
Julian pissed the bed.
Yes. And
Yeah.
which one
And
killed?
then tried to hide it.
Oh no, that's in Red Rising. We learn about who is it that kills the bird and then gets
no,
upset
that's
about
in
it.
this book.
That's in this one about
This one,
Cassius, isn't
yeah.
it? Isn't Cassius who kills the
No.
bird and gets? Is that Julian as well?
Cassius kills the bird, but can't kill it. He ends up
Right, he injures it and can't kill it.
He injures it, and Karnas has to kill it.
Yeah.
And then Julian ends up doing something else and has Karnas kill it. And Karnas is like, I've been dealing with them forever. Like, this is me having to deal with this as an issue. And so Karnas finds Cassius and Julian to kind of be like an inconvenience.
Yeah.
Almost. Like, he has to cover up for them, has to clean up for them. And so when we get to a point where they're all trying to avenge Julian, Karnas is like, bruh, I'm like, kill whoever you want to kill.
Yeah.
And then Darrow jumps into it and is like, come on, let's fight. And that's when all of the younger cousins and whatnot jump in, / Cassius, because Karnas is like, I'm above this.
Mm-hmm.
But also, you're all young. Like...
Well, if we're gonna go down relationships like that, the other relationship that we see is Nero and Darrow.
Nero.
Nero and Darrow.
Nero
my
and
brain's
Darrow.
gone. My brain's gone. That we see
Be
they're
honest.
following him.
The difficulties sign and
10 of 10
Yeah, I
respect
just-
Nero.
Oh, you guys can't even see my technical sign. I'm putting it up. My brain's gone. There it is. Yeah.
10
I'm
of
gone.
10. I respect Nero's technical sign. And what I mean by that is specifically the fact that when Darrow is manipulating the hell out of him, Nero is like, yeah, I'll cut my face. Cuts face.
Mm-hmm.
And that is what I mean. And that I don't necessarily ever respect Nero, because Nero, as much as I can understand some of his motives, I can equally not have any comprehension on others. And when it comes to that final motive, sure, I understand. I don't understand any of the others.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's such a politico that he's got to save face in every single thing.
yeah, Nero is like, okay, Darrow is about to fuck shit up, and I want to be on that side.
Yeah. But
Darrow had to go over and ask him for that. Like, he was not willing to give that until Darrow was like, come on, bud. Come on, I'm going to win this.
Yep.
Yeah. Does Nero know about Lorne training him?
No.
Oh, I doubt it.
Mm.
No one does.
Yeah, it doesn't specify,
And that's
but like,
the crazy part.
I don't know if anyone does. I don't even know if Mustang does.
Oh, at that point, they're not talking.
I would.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, they are. Yeah. Because they break up when Darrow goes off to the academy.
So it happens before academy. I don't know why I... Okay, never mind. That makes so much more sense. So yeah, she might...
So she probably figured it out. She's like, wow, you're getting way more dexterous.
Wow, I feel so many more things.
How... No.
There are a lot more fingers.
He was already a hell diver. We already know that he was probably good at that.
It's not the hands, it's just everything else.
They could do it faster than fire. I can do it faster.
Yeah. Yeah, because...
That's not a brag.
Exactly.
We see him go through with Nero of, like, nearly getting... getting fired is what I'm going to call it.
Yep.
And then just at that last...
And finding out a month after he's been fired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then in the...
That's the worst part.
The last 5 minutes of his last shift of the 2 weeks notice that's been given to him, it gets reversed, and then he has to take on, because the flea is part of this. We see them fleeing the gala, in which Darrow has to be in charge, pretty much. Like, we see him totally take charge of that.
Yeah, it's funny how they look to you when you're bloody up to the elbows and none of it's yours.
Yeah.
And I'm always like, oh, that's such a fucking metal line.
Yeah. Which is also when we get... Oh, there's so much to talk about in these chapters, because then we get the telemanaces just for that glimpse, which Sophocles is... This is a question. Sophocles is mentioned as at the gala. I don't think we have the name Sophocles, but we know there is a giant fox with him. And then all hell breaks loose. And, like, where's the fox? What's happening? Or is Sophocles just so used to this bullshit that just knows to go, like, I'll stand over here, you tell me what...
He's prepared to look for Cavix.
Cavix is fighting with
his mantle.
With his mantelpiece, yeah. I will say, like, with the whole scene that you're talking about, where everything falls apart, literally, like, if you're looking through it, it's a lot of political dominoes. It's, some things cannot be unsaid. Why else would I say them? But young Telemenes, you fail to remember my word is law. That is something you don't do. A gold's word is not law. Like, it's a lot of one thing after the other very, very, very quickly. And then we flip, and I accept the challenge with open arms, and Darrow fights that challenge. And it very, very quickly determines who wins. I said, stop, the sovereign shouts. Finish it, Augustus commands. Like, it's Augustus versus the sovereign, and kill him, screams Cassius' mother. Kill him now. No! Imperator Bologna says, too late. Like, it's... Everybody is trying to either encourage or stop out of full force, and there's few people in the middle that are unsure how to react.
Yeah. Yeah, and then we get the big brawl, and everyone fleeing, including the one family gets absolutely decimated, except for the one daughter.
Yeah.
And they all have to... They run out, and
The
Thorn family. Justice for Thorn Girl. But then when they're out, we get the next big reveal, which is the end of the segment we're allowed to talk about, which is Fitchner shows up as the Rage Knight. Okay, what was our first, if we can, I don't remember thinking back. I don't remember that part when I first read, but do you guys remember your first reaction to it being
Yeah.
Fitchner that shows up in that? And like, you have to, okay, let's set the scene that they're going out, and then it's, because I just reread this part, that they're falling, the Obsidian are falling in groups of 3. So it's thud, 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 thump, 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 thump. So that it's 99. And then the final person drops. And they're yelling, I think, like, show yourself. And then it's Fitchner!
Yeah, the reveal is so good.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, declare yourself, knight. The knight allows his helm to melt back into his armor. His flaxen hair falls over an ugly hatchet face. And if that's not the point where you're like, holy fuck, it's Fitchner, then
you're not paying attention. Yeah.
Yeah, wet from sweat, lined with age and stress. I bark out a laugh when he smiles out that side slash of a mouth. I draw stares. Now they'll only think me madder. The Rage Knight falls from the sky and I laugh in his face. He cackles. Don't you recognize me, you little shit-eater? And I'm like,
Yep.
y'all.
Yep.
I knew it was fucking Fitchner from the beginning.
What? When the Obsidian were falling, you knew it was Fitchner?
No. From that first sentence, he speaks out loud.
Yeah, 100%.
And I am floored to imagine Fitchner on the ground, like, yes, in the middle of Obsidians, like, just.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think my first reaction was like, oh, fuck. Like, I thought he was a good dude.
That is good, because we don't know him at, like, really where he lies at this
like
point. Has he been bought out? What's happening?
Exactly. We know he kind of rooted for Darrow during the Institute.
He's landed. We don't know where he's landed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. I mean, we can't talk about anymore because that's the next chapter.
That's the end.
Yep.
You know, question. Theodora.
I love Theodora.
I personally think she's incredible.
I love her. We only get to see a little bit of her in this, but what we do see, she's just that
grandma character.
Yes. I was going to say mom, but not quite mom. Grandma is a good wording. She's the grandma character.
She's more of a Nona. Like, a little bit, like, less grandma than grandma, but, like, a little bit more mom than mom.
Yeah. Yeah, I absolutely love her, and the relationship with her and Darrow, of him saving her from the beginning. That's what we see, that his number one priority is get her off the ship.
Yeah, he's like, yeah. Darrow, Theodora. Like, I have to make it off because I have to make sure Theodora gets off.
Because she's fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
She's just so fabulous. I love her. And
it makes me super sad. In, I believe it's chapter 10 or 11, when Darrow has come back from meeting with the Sons of Ares, and it's like she can feel what's coming. Like, she makes a mistake, she spills the glass of wine, and that's why he ends up in black at the gala.
Yes.
And it's like
she knows.
She recoils and starts apologizing before, like, collecting herself. And it's like, she may not know what's coming, but she can feel it in me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's just...
Makes me sad for first of all, what she's experienced, but also just like, goddamn, that's some people.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. No, she's just so fabulous. So outside of relationships, can we move to the other part of this podcast, or what it was supposed to be, of just ships, that we actually get a spaceship in this chapter.
2 of them.
Two!
Well,
2 of them.
Yeah, or 4.
Well,
Hold up, Crescent.
1 and 2 halves.
Who is your favorite character on spaceship number 1?
ooh.
Darrow.
Damn.
All right, disappointed. Skipper, what's your first?
Victra. This is our favorite characters overall.
Wins!
This is it. This is what
I
it
know.
is overall. Is he always says Darrow and I always say Victra.
You ain't wrong, I know.
But yeah, we finally get not just a spaceship, but a
I will say
ship-to-ship
Darrow's also
battle.
pretty good. Yeah. Darrow and Victra is a pretty good comparison. I understand.
But yeah, we get the ship-to-ship battle in which, what was it? 833 people die.
Yeah.
833 lives.
And the tactical advantage of using, what does he hide behind? An asteroid? And you just get to see we meet the Blues for the first time, and we get to see what they're like. You see how the Greys, more to a level, interact with people. It's just such a great, how much further we are out of the mines, right? Like book 1 starts with the mines,
start to open
with,
up a lot.
Yeah.
Like right away.
And then they're sitting there with gold, are they not?
We've got all the golds there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, on the ship that they talk about, there's grays, oranges, obsidians, golds, blues.
Pinks. Theodora's there.
Yep. Theodora's there. And I think that's it.
Yeah.
That they talk about. I'm sure that they've
about.
got pretty much every color on the ship.
Oh yeah, they must.
Speaking of grays, though, Hurricane, you had a really good quote for when Darrow flies away in the escape pod and he leaves the gray captain behind.
Hold up, I got it. I will find. Because, in all honesty, I was devastated. I believe this is it. I activate the launch function and salute the Grey who stays behind. He salutes back, proud and loyal, despite the quiet in him, as he faces his last moment of life. Eyes distant and thinking of some young love, some path not taken, perhaps wondering why he was not born a gold.
Mm-hmm.
And it was literally on page 15 of Golden Sun. It was one of those moments where I was forced to kind of question kind of where this was going, I guess, on a broad spectrum. Because it really shows you how demeaned colors are, including colors that are higher in stature than reds. Because it's a moment where it shows a pretty high gray being forced into subjecting his position for a pink.
Mm-hmm.
And how that modifies things. And the fact that the gray that was shot and left on the standing platform had 2 kids.
Mm-hmm.
And the gray that was not was left saluting there, recognizing that he was loyal because he was saluting and standing there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's one of the first times we really get a death that, Io decided her own death in a way, but that you get such a backstory and what, these people are actually thinking and going through as it's happening. Right? We don't usually, most of the deaths leading up to this are quick, and Darrow doesn't get to see their inner mind, their inner thoughts, including with Io. We don't see Io's actual inner thoughts. We don't know what's happening. This is kind of the first time that it's being vocalized of how these people don't want to die and how scared they are, and what, you know, as you say, where they sit, they're negotiating out of it and all of that.
Yeah, or I think it's really the first time that Darrow kind of paused the time while it's happening to think about it.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, obviously with Io, it's just like she's being hanged and she's gone. And Pax, he just gets savaged and dies, and Darrow is like, I have to move on to the next thing. Whereas this, he kind of like, you know, he literally sits with it.
Yeah.
In his escape pod, thinking about this guy's, you know, potential life.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very moving. And then we discover that it's basically all for nothing because Karnas is hanging out in the asteroid. Yeah.
Well, that's before.
Is it before?
Yeah, because
you're right. But then after that he tries to like charge his, because they cut off his commands to his escape pod because he tries to get it back. That's what it is.
He's gonna shoot from the belly of the ship.
Yeah.
Towards their ship in a star shuttle.
And then they cut him off, which is where you learn that they had control the whole time.
No, not at all.
No. Yeah. So I have one more out of context quote to share, and it was hard to hear because I listened afterwards, so I didn't quite know. So I think it's actually Alcatraz, but it might be you, Hurricane. Your voices sometimes. But the two of you were going back and forth actually about the length of a spaceship and how Pierce writes in metric. So we do have this one here.
The ship at the Academy is like a kilometer, several kilometers. I'm like, I don't know what a kilometer is.
Which I just bring that up because, and then you get this one is the next one here. Hold on.
It's a big boy.
Because I've run a 5K before, and I know that that's 3 miles.
That is correct.
That's how I do my conversion.
Every race I ran was against my will.
Yeah. So it just made me laugh of... yeah, that us reading it, I would not have thought about.
Us.
I was like...
Alcatraz.
I read it and I was like, yeah, kilometer. I totally forgot that.
I know exactly how long that is.
I know what that is. That Pierce, I don't think it's through the whole book. I think he sometimes accidentally wishes and washes and goes back to feet, but
long distances he stays metric.
Yeah.
For the most part, he's metric.
Yeah.
I think he might slip a couple inches or feet in there.
Which is the Canadian way. We talk height and feet.
Absolutely.
So is Pierce actually Canadian in writing this?
I don't know, Skipper, are you?
Shh. We don't talk about the Den's conspiracy theory that I am in fact Pierce. But yeah, it just amused me of you guys talking about it, and like it went on. Mm-hmm. You guys went in depth of like how long a kilometer was. But it makes sense, guys. It's the future. Come to the metric side. That's it for me. Do you guys have anything else to throw in?
I think we have covered pretty well everything.
But also, thank you, everyone, and thank you, Skipper, for a lovely time. I've loved bringing the force of the hurricane to you.
Yes. Well, thank you for being, as always, our out-of-context queen with your... You can spoil just a little bit. Thank you, everybody, for watching. And yeah, it's been great.
Join us next week for chapters 14 to 24.
26, I
And,
think.
Read along plan says 24.
Oh, okay, then never mind.
I checked
That's
it today because I had to correct Hydra's post. Sorry, Hydra.
That's only 10 chapters. This one was 13. All right.
Mhm.
All right. Interesting. Okay.
I think Salem actually like busted it up differently than just quarters. Anyway,
So some more cliffhangers.
thanks for joining us for Fate
All
to
right.
Obsidian.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Have a good night.